Well, I got my first sale.
Woo!
That's
Wait,
good.
oh, wait, there's more.
And I got my first listing.
Yay! All right.
Yeah, that's amazing. See, so I had to call you out. So, yeah, we're very excited and proud of you. Any assistance that you need along the way, let me know. Where did those come from?
The buyers came from one of the lenders, Gold Star Mortgage. She's a good
Okay.
friend of mine. So,
Friend of yours? Perfect.
yeah, they were pre-approved to be
Love
sent
to
my
stay
way.
in person, good.
And then the lister is actually from a regular at Tommy's where I bartend on Fridays.
So warm sphere.
Yeah.
Perfect, good. What about you?
Yesterday, I had a couple that Chris gave me these two people to go show them a house in Norwalk,
That came in yesterday.
forever and a day ago. And we've been going back and forth, talking about possibly listing their house. They were gonna wait till they found something. I guess the wife realized we can't wait. We're obviously gonna have to sell our house first. So, right in Avon, we're on 417,000.
Woo!
Mhm.
All right, Dave.
Nice.
And,
Nice house too. Beautiful house.
Really nice. Did you look at the old pictures?
No, I saw the front capture. you
They
sent
used to be
me.
listed
It's
from another
gorgeous.
agent a while ago, did not care for that agent. Just took it up to market. This was a while back, maybe over a year. Since then, it's redone their bathroom. This house has got a 3-car garage. It's unfinished, but it's an enormous, enormous basement. There's a bonus room coming up that goes down to the cellar, also comes off the garage, so there's more square footage.
Where in Avon is it?
Huh?
Where in Avon?
Off at 80,
2,
I think so.
83?
All right.
I gotta look at the directions.
Okay.
Well, it's so many places.
So, okay, we're gonna double back to that, so
Okay.
remind me, what else? Anything else?
I had 3 warm sphere approvals yesterday, one right after the other or something, but, I mean, I always tell people to do that too because it's the public, other people can see it. And if somebody puts a bad review of you, you can remove it.
Right.
So you wanna keep your rating at 5.
So, as much as I love the technology behind that, and it's a very, very useful tool, the factor of the negative thing always comes in. So let's keep it very real. So if you get bad service at a car dealership, at a restaurant, and a person is really, really mad, are they more apt to put a complaint publicly than they are to compliment you publicly? Okay, this is human nature. So when people are hearing other people's opinions about you, and if they're favorable, that's a double-edged sword. Because if you worked with Schmo and Mrs. Schmo, and they love you, and they're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. Well, their house was priced right. It was in great condition. They were good about communicating. They did exactly what you wanted them to do, and it ran through very smoothly. So of course, they're gonna love you, right? Then you turn around and go to somebody else that doesn't want a lockbox, doesn't want a sign, is not gonna give their house away, and now all of a sudden you're a bad agent. And that disqualifies that recommendation letter, agreed? So, my recommendation is to have them when things are going very, very well. Oh my God, Christina, thank you so much. I'm so excited about what we're doing here. You know, I don't know what we would do without you. Figure out a very soft way to say, you know what, it would be a huge service if my team leader got a, you know, if you communicated with them and let them know that I'm doing a good job. You know, or if you wouldn't mind, you know, doing a recommendation for me for future business, do you know anybody else? And then ask for the referral. So you kind of roll it all into one. Because I think what most agents do, hold your thought, what most agents do is they get fixed on the transaction that they're in, and then they're busy, and you don't look beyond. And this is why you're not in stability. This is why your real estate business goes like this. You're working, 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 you make a pile of money, and then you chill, and then it slides, and then the resource starts to diminish, and you're like, oh my God, I better do something, and you climb back up. Well, I don't know about you, I'll ride a roller coaster at an amusement park for an afternoon, but I want to live my life that way.
Right.
So, however that shows up, questions about that. So whatever means, well, go ahead, what was your thought?
I was gonna say, in reference to what you said, there was, I'm not gonna say who, but an agent, not at this brokerage, but had reviews on their Facebook page. You know, and I always get agents that say, like my page, so I always go to it first, and he had like 5 great reviews, and then, of course, one client who was not happy. posted something, and then he posted under somebody above him who had posted a great review. Well, this agent, instead of just removing that review, okay, said, well, if you know, your house would actually sold if you didn't wanna be stuck on that damn price.
Oh,
And
wow,
it
yeah.
would have sold just like everyone else above you on this.
What?
He said, had you priced it right like I told you to, then you'd be happy like them. I was like, not liking this guy's
Who was
page.
that?
Somebody from Howard Hanna, I don't know who it was, but I get so many requests to like other agents' pages,
Mhm.
and I always go to it to like read. I mean, whether they're from our brokerage or not, it's nice to, you know, network with people, because those are people that can bring buyers to your listings, whatever.
Right.
So I always go and I check, like, what kind of agent is this person? And when I read that, I was like, definitely not good at all.
So, let me ask you this, if
Wow.
you do get a
Yeah.
negative, if you get a negative review, or you get a nasty email, is that something that you're going to simply get rid of, or is there an opportunity there?
I mean, I haven't had any bad ones, but I know for a
I
fact.
had somebody that wrote to the broker and said that I should be fired because I stuck a gun to her head and I made her sign the closing documents to buy her house. Literally.
What?
Like, to be metaphoric, put a gun to my head. And like, that was the letter. And I just sit with the team leader, the market center team leader, and go through the whole file to make sure that I didn't miss a thing. Okay, so I had absolutely nothing to do with what the issue was. So, when you think, now you get this, you're horrified, am I going to be suspended, have to take a class, whatever it is, because somebody is displeased, especially if you're me, that is not why I do this. What do you think I did with that? Once it went away, I kept it. Because I use it as an example for somebody that is not willing to do what I'm telling them to do.
Right, I was just gonna say, that's
So
something
if
you
you say,
can show your client.
so generally, this is how I do things, and this is how things go, and they generally run smoothly. However, when I find that people feel as though they're playing amateur realtor, and they don't know exactly what they're doing, and they don't follow my advice, we end up at odds, and then this shows up. And that's exactly how I did it. Now, I only play that card if you've got somebody that's like, but I'm not giving this house away, I'm not putting a sign in the yard, like, I'm gonna die in this house, like, you know, I don't care about, you know, you're a blah, 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 and they won't use all the colorful dialogue. Like, so if you do get one of those, yeah, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna sting, I'll tell you right now, well, you have a resource if you need it, you already know that. But there's an opportunity there that you can use that to leverage your next transaction, your next client, yes.
Just, she had a showing yesterday,
Mhm.
and I guess she's home, so I guess they said, oh, where are you going next from here? She said, Holy Cross. And I guess I went, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, wait, Holy Cross is a cemetery.
Mhm.
She's like, yeah, that's where I'm headed next.
So does
Oh
that,
my God.
does that benefit the showing?
No, she should not be there,
No, one
especially
bit.
that lady.
Even if she was there
No,
with her
one
mouth closed,
bit.
sitting at the table knitting, she's not supposed to.
I mean, but
Right.
does it impact their decision
It does,
to
because
get a house a lot?
sometimes people will go in there, they rush through the house because they can't talk freely, and they feel like, okay, she's watching everything that I'm doing. It's just unsettling for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It depends on the buyer.
And to
Yeah.
your,
Right,
Basically,
right.
since you're going, well, I don't know if I feel
I
that
mean, I
way.
would feel bad for her, but I would be like,
Right, see, now you're feeling bad for it, you don't want to be put in a situation where you're
Right.
your
feeling
mindset is not gonna be,
clear.
I picture myself living here.
Because she's
Your
right
mindset's
there.
gonna be like, she's here, so we better hurry up and get
Right,
this and
Or I'm
right.
taking this poor old lady's house away.
Yeah,
Right.
especially if she said that kind of.
Actually, this buyer, I guess, is interested in making an offer.
I saw that.
And he said, his question, and the agent asked me was if she dies during the process of foreclosing,
Well,
let's say she
she's
dies and ends up in
dying.
Holy Cross, what happens, you know, does this hold up my, you know, buying purchase of the house, and how long does that hold up, does it have to go to probate, who's it go to?
Now they think she's dying or has
Well,
cancer or
isn't that a
something.
ridiculous dialogue to have because the seller was there?
Right. Just tell them she's being dramatic, she's fine, She's just sad that she has to part with her house, that's it.
She's an interesting character, there's nothing to be worried about. Long past.
It is-
That's,
Yeah,
that's where I
it's-
went. I was like, she's just, I was like,
She's
did
an
she offer,
character.
did she offer you drinks? And she said, no. I was like,
Well,
that
and
might be in the
just-
second showing,
I've
but
always
she's
been
just,
worried about this from all along with her, is because she's, loose lips sink ships. I just hope she never opens up her mouth about the neighbors tormenting her to any potential.
See, that's all
Buyers
thing,
coming in.
because the neighbors, like I have a neighbor that doesn't care for us, but I'll tell you what, if somebody else moves into the house and they end up being best friends,
Yeah.
like not everybody's for everybody.
Right.
Like, there's a million different reasons why you should not have your son there, a million,
She's
million.
so stubborn, she's a stubborn little.
You know, so, and to peel back one more layer, so she goes holding costs, so what do you think the agent thinks about that person? And I'm gonna get into a transaction with her and she's gonna be a bitch for 35 to 60 days. Like, I don't think I wanna touch this, much like it's difficult working with for sale by owner. It's a rash generalization to put them all in the same category, right. But they already kind of have a little bit of a reputation, so you take heed from that. So, I'm not surprised, but at the
Right.
same time.
well, this agent also took a step further, looking like, how many agents did she have before? Because this house has been listed how many times now? And so she did her homework. And they said, wow, it's, she's like, how have you lasted so long?
Yeah, they know that it's, because you're willing to take the abuse and hope for something better to come along with a little more ease. So, when you have an expired listing, is there an opportunity for you to find out who listed it prior to you taking the listing? Is there an opportunity there? If you find out,
I think I would-
I'm perplexing everyone
I always
today.
look at
I look
the-
into it, and if I find out, especially if it's like a discount broker, things like that, but when I'm at that appointment, I always say, can you tell me like past experience, what was good, what was not
Okay,
good?
take it outside that. I get that, that's exactly right.
Is that what was in?
Is there an opportunity for somebody who had a listing that is expired? What does that say to you if somebody had a listing that expired? Because I know the first thing that comes to my mind is weak agent.
It's not,
Right.
I learned that that's not always the case.
Yeah.
No, but that's how I see it.
Right, I learned that.
I
the
see
other
it
day.
like, first thing that comes to mind is weak agent. Second thing that comes to mind is difficult client. Well, if you've got the
Right,
listing
okay.
and you start to interact with the client, you're gonna know whether it's a difficult client. If you find out that you picked up a listing that was expired and the client isn't difficult, you may or may not be able to default to weak agent. Is there an opportunity there?
I think there's an
I have
opportunity
to
everywhere.
change all of your mindset about this.
Well, yeah, it was an
Downline, 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 downline. They probably are an agent that's winging it, that doesn't know what they're doing, that they're new and they don't have any support. Like, why not pull them in and go, hey, you would do much better over here on my team or with Keller Williams because we have better training, because clearly your business is suffering.
This is once you get the
Get them
listing.
and you're down, of course. Well, that's the only way you're gonna know
To
whether
prove
the
it,
client is
yeah.
decent, right? Because if the client is, then you're not gonna pull in whoever tried to list the house before, because you know that the problem was not the agent. But there is opportunities there for you to pull people in. Your co-bros that you enjoy working with, or that maybe were very, very sharp, but you saw like big flaws in their systems and their processes. Like, why not try to pull them in? Call my team leader, have them come in. You'll do better here than you will with 2001 Realty or Ohio State Realty or flat price realty business, because they have a friend, come on, we'll do this, and they're not trained. We all have to deal with that in the marketplace, agreed? We all have to do that. We have to deal with that week. Yeah, look it up. Like, I just looked it up this morning. Like, so there's an opportunity for you to fill your downline. How many people do you guys have in your downline? None. 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 None.
Trust me, Betty's writing me out about it because I'm under her. She's like, get to it.
So I have 15. 8 in the first line,
Nice.
and then the second line, the third line. My second line is all in Huntington Beach, California. All 4 of them. So you know what kind of properties sell in Huntington Beach, California? Okay, I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because there's an opportunity that you guys are missing. So try to find those people that you like to work with. If you find an agent that you really enjoy working with and you know that you can make them a better agent and you add them to this, isn't that going to add to the culture of the Market Center and the team? And by the way, on the 21st of every month, you get a benefit by doing so. They're in action.
Now, what if we know they're a pretty good agent, but we know they're not gonna be a good fit for the team?
Right to
Still,
the Market Center, bring them in, you still get pulled off of it.
I'll be like, Mark, I like her, we can't keep her up.
Yeah, if it's too big of a personality or it's not a good fit, that's
Right.
okay, but that doesn't limit it right to them, like, you're not good for the
Right.
team, but you might be good for here, you might be good for, like, throw one of those wild personalities upstairs and let them produce it. They're in your downline, let them go, let it fly. You know, like, I'm not saying anybody's saying that, so like, however that shows up, so
Right.
there is a missed opportunity there, and I feel like I uncovered it because by the look on everybody's face, they're all like, yeah, it's clearly there, so you have to kind of think outside of that. That's why those things are set up for you. Most brokerages do not have them. So, on to the next thing. How are we doing with our follow-up? What is your system for following up with your existing clients and or potential clients?
I have to say that from my end of it, because I can see commission scheme, that some people are following up much better than others. They are notating, some people are notating every time they speak to someone, which is what they should be doing. And that way I can go in there and say, okay, this person's actually nurturing this person, the lead stays with them. But if I see somebody that I gave a lead to, they called one time, and it's 2 weeks later and you haven't attempted to call them or text them or anything
Or put
again.
notes in.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no way for me to know that. So if it's a lead somebody wants to keep, they have to do that, because the protocol on my end is if I look at something and there's nothing notated, it needs to go to someone else, and I don't want to do that, especially if someone's actually been calling them.
So, what were you gonna say, Al?
I was just wondering what you're supposed to do, because I've called all the ones that like you've sent me, and if they don't answer or you leave them a voicemail and nobody picks up, like,
I mean,
what do you do after that? I'll go ahead and I'll send an email through commissions, or I'll send a text message, and nobody's responding, so.
and it takes a while. I mean, some of these you have to nurture, some people
So
work
as
during the
long-
day.
As long as you're notating that you actually did
Right.
make the contact.
I make all my calls through Commissions Inc.,
Yeah, so it imprints.
it labels it right
Yeah.
away.
Okay, so that is showing that there's some activity. If
Right.
there's no activity, then that's when it's like, well, you just flat out not calling them, yes.
Right.
Go into add reminder, click add reminder, schedule a call for yourself anywhere from 3 to 7 days out, so you remember to call them back. Say, I'm calling you again, I left a message the other day, I'm sure you're probably so busy, but I did notice you've been looking for houses in Avon Lake, I wanna know what, my goal is to really do the best I can. And by the way, many people don't know, in most cases, there's no cost to you, so please give me a call, I can explain that a little bit better.
And,
The more you're here, the more that will start to roll off your tongue.
right, and change it up once in a while. That's why we're gonna do call night, because you can call the same person 20 times and think they're not interested and still see activity in the account that they're looking and but you have to remember, look at the time that they're looking. Because I had a lady that I didn't talk to the whole time, and she was always corresponding with me, but we could never connect. Well, when I finally looked at the notes and saw she was looking at these houses at 11 and 12 o'clock at night,
Why was she doing that?
because she's a nurse and worked first shift but worked 12 hours.
How about this? How about I'm divorcing my husband and I don't want him to know that I'm looking at houses and I can't talk to you at dinner time because he's here.
Yep.
That's real life.
Yeah, so I always tell them, I always send a text and I'll say, hey, I know I've left you a few messages and we haven't been able to connect. I do work evenings if necessary, so please let me know a better time. And then she responded and she ended up being a client for me. But the whole point was, for 6 months, we were doing activity together, but never talking because her schedule and, just the time. So finally, I told Betty one day, I stayed up till 9:30 just calling people in my sink because I'm not getting a hold of anybody. Sure enough, the next day, I had 6 voicemails. I called 250 people, but still I got 6 voicemails out of it for people that just said, oh, well, I work during the day every time you call me, that's why. So I'm like, okay, so I notated it, set a reminder so I know these people are just not daytime calls.
Perfect. Now, so what I want to take it one step beyond. So that is specific to the leads because we're tracking that
Right.
for you. We're tracking that through a lead system that the team provides you with and has to pay quite a bit of money for so that you have those leads to uncover referrals, uncover transactions, get things to closing and all that sort of thing. So that's great that we're like monitoring it. How are you, in your integrity, in your business, with your warm spirit, monitoring your follow-up? That's really the bigger question. Though all that is very, very pertinent, I appreciate that. But like, if any one of us isn't standing over you, how you be doing with the follow-up? And before you answer, this is one of the biggest challenges that real estate agents have, is the follow-up. They get to it, and they're like, cool, it's in contract. And then they go to the next thing. And they're not taking care of that client, and then it starts to ball up, and then 1-800-MARK at 9:30 at night starts to occur, which is okay. But I want you to be mindful about having a system for your follow-up. Like, have a system for once you're through the ROC. Have a system that, that cricket period, which you'll soon learn, between the removal of contingencies, the appraisal, and the closing. Like, there's nothing going on. You have to let underwriting and finance do their thing. And that person feels like they're disconnected, and that's when they go do crappy things, as I watch my dialogue, like go buy appliances or take out a new credit card, just like what Ryan said yesterday. And now all of a sudden, it's a mess. Like, you have to very quickly remind them, okay, between now and that appraiser, when that appraiser comes in and before you close, don't move money, don't spend money, don't take out credit, don't do any of that stuff. That's a quick reminder. So if you give yourselves a very clear trajectory of step-by-step what the process is, have a copy of it, a checklist of your own, give it to your clients. But you're wondering what's happening next, you can always refer to this, and of course you can always call me at any time if you want to. And that's kind of the long and the short of it. Any questions about that? So be good about your follow-up, be organized about your follow-up. How about the database? Challenge number 2. How does your database look? The first thing I did when I walked into this office is I sat down and I wrote out 750 people that I knew from various aspects of my life so that I could put them in a database. That's the first day, and send it out so if anybody's looking for a realtor, I'm the first person they think about. And get on that. That's also something else when you're like, I don't feel like I don't have anything to do. But yeah, you got plenty to do. If you feed that database and put it on a drip campaign and let it run, and the leads will come in. It's leverage. That will work on its own, and then when you start to get stuff coming in, you can work that and work this. Now you're coming from abundance. This is all set up that way for a reason. Does that make sense? Do you have questions about that so far?
From family reunion, I was at one of the classes and the lady said, if you, from Monday through Friday, one person from your database each day that you call or physically visit, she's a visitor, so she's one of those, I drive to their job and drop off chocolate or something like that. But she said she did that, and literally, because the best thing to do in your database is connect with people, of course, that you already work with or have a relationship with. And she said, you'd be amazed, she's like, that the people from there, even though she was expecting referrals like from their place of employment, some people would call her and say, hey, came into my job yesterday and I thought about it, and I think my neighbor needs to sell her house. So I'm gonna give you her number.
And by the way, that is lead generating.
Right,
That is the first
right.
2 hours of your day, which is lead generating. So I'll pose this to you. Would you rather scoop up some chocolates and go see 4 past clients and drop things off at their office or their house, or sit behind your desk and make cold calls? You like doing cold calls, hey, God bless you. Okay, but like, what would you rather be doing? Would you rather be handing out your cards at Eaton Corporation that just opened across the street to the Human Resource Department, so that they know that if somebody is moving into town and they're looking for a realtor, that Human Resource Department will go, well, we have somebody that we've used before, but we haven't had the best luck with them. Let's try Dave Mitnick. And you hand a card over. So whenever we say, come in, plug in, you know, everybody kind of has that mindset of like, you come in and you plug in so that you're supposed to sit behind the desk and just make calls, make calls, make calls, make calls, make calls. If it were me, if that was not something that I love to do, I would figure out a different way to do that lead generating. Like, it's future business session. Like, it's not for you to follow up on the clients that you already have. It's not for you to do, you know, answer your emails. Like, that stuff has to all be on a schedule. This is where, when you hear all this stuff, I'm sure, like, I can see it all over your face, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so much to do. I feel like I'm getting chained to my desk. No, but it's quite the opposite. So you're not chained to your desk. So you're doing things that you kind of enjoy doing that is generating business for you. Does that make sense? Any thoughts about that besides Sophia? And we'll let her go. Okay, go ahead.
I'm willing to help you guys, like, I have a plan, but